All right, hey everyone, Riley here from becominganelectrician.com. In this video, I want to talk to you about how to buy a drill as an electrician. Now, this isn't going to be the best drill to purchase. That could be a separate video. And I also want to say that I am not sponsored or I'm not even biased towards Milwaukee. I'll explain why I have Milwaukee tools in just a moment. But in this video, I want to talk about, if you're brand new, how can you get started when it comes to what drill to buy, what to look for, how to make the most of your money and get the best experience, okay? Before we get into this video, check out my free book I have for Apprentice electricians by going to becominganelectrician.com/subscribe, all right? Okay, so if you are brand new, if you are going to be purchasing power tools, I would highly suggest looking into a bundle deal. Now, sometimes you could buy, this is called a drill driver. So both of these are drill drivers. This one is a higher end one. You can see it's a metal chuck. This one is a plastic chuck. So this is a sign of a cheaper drill, okay? As an electrician, we are doing heavy duty drilling into metal, and it's always nice to have that more powerful drill, more durable drill. And again, we'll talk more about what to look for in just a moment. I just want to talk about the purchasing experience, okay? So like I said, I would highly suggest purchasing a bundle. And inside that bundle, you typically get, this is called an impact. This is really nice. It's nice and light. It's very, very strong, and it's also very loud, but it's nice for like boxing. Something like this is quite heavy, especially when you put the battery on. Something like that gets heavy to carry around all the time. And this can also fit in little smaller areas. And when you purchase a bundle deal, you typically get what's called an impact. Then you have a drill driver. Sometimes you get like a sawzall, skill saw, flashlight, and you even get the bag. And the bag is actually super useful because I'll talk to you about that in just a moment. You can just throw everything in the bag, and then you have two separate bags. You have one for your hand tools, which if you want to go and check my very, very first video I released on this channel, I talked about you want to have a hand tool bag, and I share my favorite hand tool bag is by DeWalt, okay? And then you want to have a power tool bag, and you just literally throw everything in there, and it's super easy, which you'll see in just a moment, okay? So brand new, highly, highly suggest looking into a bundle deal. If you've already purchased one of those bundle deals and then your drill's starting to get old or you're wanting to upgrade, then I would look into, they have those combo kits, and in the combo kits, you usually get a drill driver and an impact. And whenever it comes to those kits, you always want to be looking at the batteries, all right? So that's going to be our next thing we will talk about. So here's some batteries. And again, you're going to see a lot of Milwaukee stuff here, but I am not biased at all. I am not sponsored. This is all my own tools that I purchased over the years as I was an electrician. My companies that I usually worked with most often always used Milwaukee, and it just made it easy that if my own personal batteries died, there was always a company battery you could use. So it was kind of nice that way. But the main brands that you want to look for is either Milwaukee, DeWalt, or Makita, okay? Those are kind of like the three classic tried and true brands, okay? Now, my highest suggestion to you is when you are out there, this does depend what kind of electrician you are, but if you are more of a commercial electrician bending pipe, I highly suggest having at least 3 batteries, okay? And what this is going to do for you is, for example, if you're going to be bending pipe, you're going to have, let's say, your impact. So there's a battery, and let's just put that on there, okay? So you have one battery for your impact. You're going to have one battery for your hacksaw or sawzall. So it's a powered cutting tool to cut pipe. So that's 2 batteries gone. Then you're going to have one battery that can always be charging for you, so that whenever one battery dies, then you can just replace them. All right, so it's a workflow thing. So I would highly suggest having 3 batteries. And typically when you do purchase these kits of when you have like the skill saws, the impact, the driver, so these big bundles, typically they give you 2 batteries. When you're first starting, 2 batteries is fine, okay? But what I'm trying to say is if you're going to upgrade, it's sometimes nice that if they throw in an extra battery or something, you always want to take advantage of that, okay? Now let's talk about the difference between qualities of drills. So when I first started, I just had like a cheap drill that like my dad gave me, all right? It was like a little cheap DeWalt. Now DeWalt, just like Milwaukee, they always have their different models, right? They have like a low end, mid end, high end. And when I first started, I had like a super low end drill. I eventually needed to upgrade, and I purchased one of those big bundles, just like I'm suggesting to you. I did purchase a Milwaukee bundle, but sometimes in those bundles, sometimes you don't get the high-end drill. You just get kind of like the mid to high-end kind of drill. So this drill right here, at its time, again, this is about a 10-year-old drill. You can see it's plastic, a plastic chuck, okay? So the plastic chuck is a clear sign of a cheap, typically a cheaper drill. This was still a solid drill. Like I was able to use, you know, it allowed me to do everything I wanted. However, sometimes it would get really, really hot. So I kind of had to be careful. If you are using a drill, you never want to cover the vents as you're drilling. Okay, those are pro tips. Like you always want to preserve the life of your drill because it's the most expensive tool that you will be using as you are an electrician, okay? So a plastic chuck, what happens is, especially once you start drilling through metal, you know, you're going to go through and then the metal will start hitting here. And as you can see, it just kind of gets shredded over time. Also, one other thing to look for is what's called brushes versus brushless. So this one has brushes and this one's brushless. Brushless is going to give you more power, and it's just kind of like the newer kind of technology. So all I'm trying to say is in those big bundles, sometimes, like I'm saying, it's nice to have, and you get all these different tools. And I even use those tools around the house, like the skill saw, sawzall, all that kind of stuff as well. So it's kind of nice just to have if you're younger and you're getting into the trade. These tools that you can acquire in a bundle deal, like I'm trying to say, is just a nice deal. So the higher end drills is going to have a metal chuck. You're going to have a more performance. In other words, the stronger the drill, the less wear and tear essentially on it because it can handle the task much easier. If a drill like this, like if you have to drill out a whole home with a drill like this thing will wear out over time, like very, very quick. A more powerful drill will be able to do that home, but a drill like this still isn't meant for a home to drill out the whole home. Sometimes you see someone get in there and they're drilling the whole home with a drill like this, and it's just silly. To drill out a home, you want to use the proper drill, which is typically called like a D-handle drill. They're very, very powerful, all right? And that's what they're meant for. Something like this is maybe if you want to get into a tight space, or if you've missed a hole, or maybe you don't have power and you just want to use your battery. That's what this is for, okay? So when you're purchasing a drill, if you are brand new, something like this is great, even with the plastic chuck. If you're a first or second year and you're just buying your bundle of tools, I would highly suggest getting that bundle. You get all the different tools, you get the bag. It makes life so easy. If you are upgrading, many times they offer the combo kit of an impact and the drill driver. And that's usually a good upgrade, and you want to get the high-end one with the metal chuck. You could even hear it. All right, so let's quickly hop over to what like the bags or the case can look like. So when you purchase typically a drill or like one of these combo kits where you're getting the drill driver and you are getting the impact, typically it can come in like a hard plastic case. These things look like they're really handy, but honestly, they just take up a lot of space. Something like this is really useful for something like a hammer drill, like when it comes in the case, but something like this for your drills, it takes up so much space. So let me just quickly share with you before we get into the case. This is what I'm trying to talk about. So when I got my first bundle, it came in something like this. So a bag like this is so useful because let's just speak about reality when it comes to being a construction worker or an electrician, okay? We have hand tools and we have a separate bag for our hand tools. That's what I have found has been the best experience. Then we have our power tools. I highly, highly suggest getting one of these big, large contractor bags, and this usually comes in one of those 5-piece kit bundles. Okay, so we have our hand tools in a separate bag, and that's pretty useful to always kind of bring around with you. And then many times you only just need to bring like a drill. And then this can kind of stay in like the break room or, you know, in the job box or wherever. And then your special, these are kind of like special tools, your power tools, right? You only need them certain times. Sometimes you can even go a whole day without even needing your battery charger. Now, the reality of it is your hand tools, typically, you kind of want to look after them a little bit, but your power tools, they're pretty heavy duty in a sense that you can just throw things in here, if that makes sense. And when you have a bag, it's just so useful because first of all, here's the battery charger, right? You know, you'd be able to fit your drill, your impact, your battery charger. I can put a hammer in there. This is what I was trying to say. This is called a hacksaw. So this is where what I was saying, 3 batteries. You want to have 1 battery, let's say, on your drill. right? So let's say you're bending pipe. So this is called your impact. Then you'd want one on like your hacksaw. This thing is phenomenal for bending pipe, okay? It's just one hand use. You put the battery on, and then your other battery is charging all the time. I can put drill bits in here. I can put Sawzall blades in here. I can put the flashlight. This one came with the kit, all right? And so all I'm trying to say is this bag is so useful. So let me just kind of put this all back in here just to show you that you can literally put it all in. Now, if I was going to be putting my impact away, many times I would take out the bit, remove the battery, and then everything fits in a lot better. And what I'm trying to show you here is, so this case, because it's like, you know, a plastic mold, you can only fit certain things in. Like, for example, if you want to put like the drill in there, and then I believe you can put like the impact in there as well. Let's just see. I haven't used this in a bit. But let's just say this all fits in just like how I put it in. That's all you can fit in here. And this thing is so big. So all I'm trying to say is they might sell you this, but it's useless on the job site. It takes up so much room. You always got to do this. Whereas if you have a bag, this bag can hold all your stuff and more, and you can, you know, like it's super versatile. Like it's like wherever you want to put it. So all I'm trying to say is, when you're first getting started, I would highly suggest looking into one of these bundle deals. You know, and yes, I know this video is about buying a drill, but if you're looking into buying your first drill, you probably don't have an impact. You probably don't have a skill saw. So this is called a hack saw. Many times these kits come with a sawzall. Sawzall is like heavy duty. So if they can offer you like the hacksaw, this is way more useful than a sawzall in actual real purposes out there. All right, so let's just wrap up of what we've all talked about. So again, when it comes to our drills, as an electrician, you do want this high-end drill, all right? Especially when you're a third year, fourth year, you know, journeyman. The higher drill is just going to last you longer. It's going to perform better. It's going to drill way easier into different things. It's not going to get as hot. Again, even something like this, when you're drilling, you do not want to put your hand over the drill as you're drilling. You can put your hand like behind it or hold it, whatever. But again, just do not cover the vents because it will overheat. And you always want to look after your drill. Now, when you're first getting started, even if it does have a plastic chuck, this is still a pretty high-end drill. You're able to do everything you need essentially as an apprentice. If your drill is not able to do it, you can always borrow the company drill. And because you're getting a lot more bang for buck in the bundle deal if it has this plastic chuck. Again, I haven't looked at a lot of these deals nowadays. I'm just speaking when I first started. That's typically how it went. They had the plastic chuck. It was a cheaper drill, but it gave me great results. The last thing I want to say is, again, just quickly about batteries, not about how many batteries, but the amperage of the battery. So this battery right here is very, very old. You can even look up like when the XC model came out. It's over 10 years old, but it's done great. And what I want to say is nowadays, the batteries, I believe, are becoming like 5 amp hour, which is awesome. This is a 4 amp hour. And what that means is just how much life you essentially get out of your battery, as well as how powerful it is. Even if you have a fully charged battery and the battery isn't very powerful, you would not really be able to use your other tools like a skill saw or something like that. Like you really notice that the performance is lacking. Nowadays, technology has definitely improved and you guys are definitely getting a better quality product than when I first started. So this was a 4 amp hour. Nowadays, I quickly looked in one of the flyers that kind of comes out in the mail. Now they're selling you guys 5 amp hours. So that is a phenomenal upgrade. So all I'm trying to say is when it comes to your batteries, again, just make sure to get a higher amperage battery. The ones that are like huge amperage, one thing I just want to say about those is, first of all, they are expensive. Second of all, typically they are a little bit heavier. So you kind of have to factor in the cost of something like that and what you're doing. But typically the batteries that come with the drills are really, really good. It's not just Milwaukee that has this, okay? It's like all the brands, and honestly, in almost any industry, like in the world, even like we're talking tools or computer parts or whatever, it's all essentially, all companies all kind of copy each other. So what I'm trying to say is if you're looking at DeWalt, they're going to have their high-end model. They might call it like a different word, but they have like their high-end, which is like brushless and all that stuff. So everything I've talked about, I'm wanting it to just kind of relate to any brand when it comes to DeWalt, Makita, or Milwaukee. And I just ended up always using Milwaukee tools because what happened was my first bundle, I purchased this. And then when I upgraded, I ended up just keeping Milwaukee because these batteries don't work on different manufacturers. So for example, you would not be able to use the Milwaukee battery with DeWalt or Makita, vice versa. So all I'm trying to say is that's why I just kind of kept going with Milwaukee, because I already had the skill saw, the sawzall, the drill, and impact. I already had some batteries. And so when I upgraded, it was essentially like I'm just getting better tools now. I had the batteries. I could still use the old batteries if I really wanted to, using something like this on the impact. So you can see right here, this was like the new impact. That bundle I purchased also gave me a different impact. But so watch, you can just see, so it works, right? And so that is the old battery from my very first kit in my upgraded impact. So I probably purchased this 5 years after I purchased this with the battery. So it lasted me quite a long time. And so I hope this video just gives you clarity into how to buy a drill. I would suggest the bundle. And then if you are a little bit more seasoned, I would definitely look into the more quality drill. But if you are just getting started, the bundle deal allows your money to go much further. One last thing I will say is just be careful using your power tools with your company. Like there's certain times where, yeah, you got to use your drill, but many times the companies give you these power tools to share throughout all your different co-workers. And so what I'm trying to say is, let's say in this bundle deal that they threw in a skill saw, okay? Your company often gives you a skill saw to share between all workers, and many times that skill saw is corded. So it has a power cord, and whenever it comes to power tools and you plug it in, it's always going to be more powerful than a drill that has a battery, okay? So always try to take advantage of the company tools. It allows your tools to last longer. For example, if you are going to be drilling holes in the home for all your wire, do not be using these drills. Use the company drill for all the holes, and then if you miss a hole, grab your drill, go pop the hole, because then you don't have to go and grab the company drill or who's ever using it. That's where you can use your stuff, right? But many times the company does require you to have drills, but all I'm trying to say is just be wise and make sure to take advantage of the company drill, because that's what it's there for. And then if someone else is using the company drill, then you can use your drill. Okay, so that's it for this video. I just talked about how to buy a drill. The cheaper end drills will have a plastic chuck. They're going to have what's called brushes. It doesn't mean that it's not powerful. Like this thing could hurt you bad, right? Also, when you are drilling, always be careful of where your wrist is and where your hand is, because if you're drilling and it's going to catch, you always want to think like that. So if you're drilling and it's going to hit the wall or like whatever, let it go. All right. And so in other words, like if you're drilling like this and the wall's right here, that's silly, because your hand is going to hit the wall. What I would do is you can push down right here and you would use the drill like this. Okay. So if it slips out, it leaves your hand and everything's good. So if you're brand new, these are things you have to think about, because there's some drills that they call wrist breakers. And like I'm telling you, some of them are so powerful. You can hit your hand. I've even seen this one time someone was drilling and their face was right here. And what happened was the drill wrapped around and it hit him right in the face, right in the eye. And I saw him a week later and he had the biggest black eye I've ever seen in my entire life. He was using like a big hammer drill and it wrapped around and hit him in the face. So whenever you're using drills, always be careful of hand placement, especially if you're on a ladder, if you're up high. Safety is so important. But the cheaper drill will do you great if you're a first or second year apprentice. Once you're ready to upgrade, something with the metal chuck is something that you would want to look into. If you don't feel that you need the skill saw and sawzall and stuff like that, and if you just want to buy a bag separately, you can even just get something like this and then kind of piece your stuff together. But I'm telling you, when I purchased that bundle deal, just as a, just being like a person, someone who has like a home or whatever, that bundle deal I've used like 10, 12, 13 years later, and it's just been so useful. And I just feel that the money from the bundle has gone so much further. And then I ended up upgrading, but I still had all those old tools. And then I got new batteries that came with the upgrade. Again, these are the 4.0. And I'm just telling you, it just gave me an awesome experience. So that's it for this video. How to buy a drill. Make sure to have at least 3 batteries if you are a commercial electrician who is bending pipe, because you can use one for your drill, one for your sawzall/hacksaw. I would highly recommend the hacksaw over the sawzall, and then one can always be charging while you're working. And then that way you can be super efficient. And that's what it's all about, being an apprentice electrician. If you can show your journeyman that you are efficient and wise and that you want to learn, they will keep wanting to teach you, and they'll keep you around. And then even when the job starts getting quieter, so when it's, because how the job works is you have the rough-in stage, then it goes to the finishing stage. And then what happens is near the end of that finishing stage, the foreman will start sending people to other jobs, or they start laying people off. And if you are the apprentice that is diligent, they know that you're there on time, they know that you have a good kind of mindset and a good personality, and that you're ready to work and that you're efficient, and that, even something like this, that if your battery's always charged, which means that you're always able to work, like the last thing that your foreman would want to hear from you is, oh, my battery's dead, right? His next question to you would be, do you have another battery? And you would say, no. And he'd be like, okay, go downstairs and go get the company battery or whatever, right? All right, so that's just a little pep talk. Sometimes that stuff's really important to know about, because people are out there, they really don't realize the foreman is always watching you, and they're always looking about, who am I going to keep when the job gets quiet? And you want to be that apprentice that stays around, because that is where you get one-on-one time with the foreman and your journeyman, and that is when you're going to learn all the secrets of the trade. All right, that happened to me many times. And I just want to tell you, that is the secret. You want to stay till the end. And if you stay till the end, you're going to learn. And how do you get there? Well, sometimes, it's just the way it goes. Sometimes some foremen have favoritism towards some workers more than others. And, if you're in that situation, that sucks. But generally, the good foremen, the good, the good bosses, they're looking about who is the best worker, and those are the ones that they want to keep around. Okay, that's it for this video, how to buy a drill. I hope it helps you out. I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Don't forget, check out my free book for apprentice electricians by going to becominganelectrician.com/subscribe. I have written so many valuable tips in there of what I wish I knew before I became a journeyman. I'll talk to you guys in the next video.